TV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, it does not matter who the host is. Today is Friday, January the 14th of 2022. So take a guess what day number that is. Okay, it is the 14th day of the year, meaning that we only have 351 days left before it is all over, before everything is gone, everything is done, and all of that kind of fantastic stuff. So there you go. Some fun things going on. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. So hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are hanging out on this Friday, ready for the 3-day weekend, hopefully inside of your neck of the woods. Hopefully that's what's going on. I don't know. I'm just saying, I hope that's what it is. Hopefully something good is happening. Anyways, we are hanging out also with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at. Radio. Okay, so also hanging out with our friends at Radio Big.FM. So there you go. Anyways, let's start talking right away because we got a lot of stuff to carry, a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of things to talk about on this lovely Friday. So let's talk immediately about what was trending yesterday. Yesterday, hashtag Peacemaker was trending as the series starring John Cena premiered on HBO Max. Hashtag low approval rating. Joe landed on Twitter's top 10 on Thursday as Joe Biden's approval rating tanked at 33%. Glenn Beck was trending yesterday after the conservative commentator revealed that he has contracted COVID-19. Twitter lit up over the Supreme Court blocking Biden's vaccine mandates for businesses. Tweets were a mixture of support and disappointment. We'll talk about that as part of our main story. Yes, it is Friday, and we do have a main story. How did this happen? How does this happen? It's not supposed to happen, but it did happen. Anyways, and then Prince Andrew was trending after news broke that he was stripped of several titles by his mum, Queen Elizabeth. So there you go. So just some things that are going on right there, right away. Let's talk about some other things real quick before we get too far into the world real quick here. If you're not doing much this weekend and you're looking for some things to do and you're looking for some of those glorious video on demand services, there are some that are available out there right there for you and some new movies coming into that. So new to Amazon Prime is Hotel Transylvania Transformania. And then new to Disney Plus will be Betty White Goes Wild and Catch That Kid. New to Hulu will be Bergman Island, Sex Appeal, Bad Rap, Main Street Rewind, Serious Moonlight, Sprinter, 0 Days, and then new to Netflix. This is not a comedy. This is definitely your life. I mean, this is not a comedy. So there you go. There you go. That is what is going on inside of the world. So if you're so inclined to go hang out, move about, hang out, do the thing, you got some time to do so today. Anyways, phone lines are open at callinradio.com. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com and that will get everything moving and grooving. You can message, you can text, you can video chat. We'll take a look at what you have going on, go from there and see if we can get you in to the system or if I can pay attention to the system. Maybe that's the other side of the equation. So that's everything that's going on there. So as we start and move today, we have to start talking right away and let's not hold back anything. Let's move forward and punch it all the way through. And here is your friends from Beatrice Story News giving you what's going on.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Has revoked Novak Djokovic's visa for the second time. The decision means the world number one tennis player who is unvaccinated against COVID-19 could be deported and receive a 3-year visa ban, as Arthur Stevens reports.
The shockwaves are still reverberating around Melbourne Park, where Novak Djokovic was hoping to defend his Australian Tennis Open crown. His plans are now in disarray after Immigration Minister Alex Hawke used his discretionary power to scrap the Serb's visa on health and good order grounds and on the basis that it was in the public interest to do so. Djokovic's legal team has indicated they intend to file an injunction in a bid to allow him to stay and play in the tournament.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is under renewed pressure following fresh allegations that 2 parties were held in Downing Street the weekend of Prince Philip's funeral. The Daily Telegraph newspaper reports the gatherings took place in April 2021 when COVID restrictions banned indoor mixing between households. Some Conservative MPs were already calling for Boris Johnson to resign over a series of claimed rule-breaking parties in Number 10. Telegraph political correspondent Tony Diver broke the story.
One of the leading dues was for James Slack, who at the time was Boris Johnson's Director of Communications. Between the 2 parties, there were about 30 members of staff. Boris Johnson himself wasn't at the parties. He'd gone to his country residence. We can say for sure that a lot of the people working right at the heart of government were there that evening.
Mr. Slack has since apologised. China, meanwhile, has denied interfering in UK politics after MI5 warned an agent of the country had infiltrated Parliament on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. The UK Security Service told MPs that Christine Lee targeted elected politicians in Britain in an effort to covertly influence policy, accusations that amount to smearing and intimidation against the UK's Chinese community, according to the Chinese embassy in London. Virginia Giuffre has confirmed she's not seeking an out-of-court negotiated settlement with the Duke of York. Our Washington correspondent Simon Marks has more.
Virginia Giuffre welcomed the judge's decision to reject Prince Andrew's effort to get the lawsuit dismissed. She said on Twitter she wants to expose the truth and seek justice from those who hurt me and so many others. Addressing suggestions that an out-of-court settlement is still possible, she says her goal has always been to show the rich and powerful are not above the law and must be held accountable. She and Prince Andrew are jointly asking the judge to keep some of their evidence confidential, at least for now.
On Thursday, the Duke of York's military titles and royal patronages were returned to the Queen. Elsewhere, hundreds of thousands of Hindu worshippers have pilgrimaged to the banks of India's Ganges River for a holy bathe, despite a 30-fold rise in coronavirus cases in the past month. And Hong Kong is expanding its ban on incoming travellers amid efforts to prevent an outbreak of the COVID-19 Omicron variant. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the British parliamentarian who took money from a Chinese spy. MI5 disclosed on Thursday that a Chinese agent has been working in the British Parliament to undermine the country's democracy. The British intelligence services say lawyer Christine Lee was sent to Britain expressly to engage in political
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com safetyfmlock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com. Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't? Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's Stan Getz and Astrid Gilberto for McLean's.
It's McLean's, the toothpaste that cleans with a new kind of taste that's wild. What a taste, what a zing. When you smile, all the bells will ring. Get 'em white, start tonight with McLean's. Taste the difference, try new McLean's, you go.
You still using that sweet kid stuff? Try the new toothpaste that gets teeth irresistibly white. You can actually feel McLean's whitening. Your whole mouth feels refreshed and invigorated.
Get 'em white, start tonight with McLean's. Taste the difference, try new McLean's, you go. Taste the difference, try new McLean's, you go.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing the things that we do together on this lovely Friday. So there you go. A lot of stuff coming around, and everything in between. So let's start talking right away about some things that are going on inside of the world. If you remember, as we were getting closer to the end of the year, the issue that had happened in the movie Rust had been talked about. So let's talk a little bit about this. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer on the set of Rust, is suing the film's ammo supplier, Seth Kenney and PDQ Arm and Prop, claiming that she could have prevented the fatal accident that killed their cinematographer if she was allowed to have a rehearsal space. She alleges that Kenney supplied filmmakers with a mix of live rounds and dummy rounds that led to the accident on the set. She also suggests that Kenney had access to the set and knew the code of gun safety. So she's seeking a jury trial. So it'll be interesting to see on how those things actually continue on, as that case did make the rounds and some things that were going on inside of there. Of course, Alec Baldwin being the most famous person associated to what was going on. Amid the news from ABC that the Oscars will return, having a host for the first time since 2018. Twitter has been throwing out all sorts of suggestions on who should take the job, and Judge Apatow thinks that Judge Apatow thinks that the show should turn to a legendary comedy pal, Steve Martin and Martin Short. He tweeted that it would be pure joy, and that's what we need currently. The Oscar nominees will be announced on February the 8th, and the ceremony will be taking place on March the 27th. So there you go. Some interesting stuff inside of there going on inside of the world. Do we want to hear this? Maybe should I share this? I'll share this. Ryan Seacrest has a hack for eating Thin Mints through although his TV co-host Kelly Ripa won't be trying it anytime soon. On Wednesday's episode of Live with Kelly and Ryan, Seacrest and Ripa talked about their favorite foods that they enjoy from the Girl Scout cookie classics. He explained that combining Thin Mints and grape nut cereal is life-changing and something that he's been doing since he was a kid. Ripa immediately knocked the idea. You want mint-flavored cereal with a disgusting expression on her face. Seacrest countered that actually it's mint milk and it's good. So there you go. Just some things that are going on inside of the world there. I don't know. I guess if you want Thin Mint, whatever, you do you. Anyways, let's talk about some of the movies that are being released today, because some people always want to know that. The newest addition to the Scream franchise enters in today on Friday. 25 years after a series of brutal murders shocked a quiet town, a new killer dons the ghost face mask and targets a group of teenagers. Sidney Prescott must return to find the truth. So there you go. Sesame Street Big Bird and his Sesame Street friends are mysteriously expelled from their neighborhood, finding themselves in Manhattan as they team up with Plucky, with their Plucky history show, who is on the quest to save her show and prove that Sesame Street actually exists. So there you go. And another movie hitting the cinemas this weekend is Deep Water. A well-to-do husband who allows his wife to have an affair in order to avoid a divorce becomes a prime suspect in the disappearance of his lover. So that's a movie with Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. I would like to know how that premiere went. I'm sure that had to be interesting if they met up on the premiere carpet. That should probably be some things to think about if you put it in any kind of context whatsoever.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so moving and grooving and doing all the stuff that we do around here. Let's talk right away. For many cruise lovers, living on a ship permanently is a life goal, but because of the cost, an extremely unrealistic one. But a new residential community at sea is hoping to change that and offering a more affordable chance to live on a cruise ship. Storylines, dubbed the residential community at the sea, is scheduled to set sail in 2024. Storylines debut ship will feature a 1-to-4 bedroom as well as studios and a few two-story penthouses starting about $400,000, an eye-popping $8 million. There are also limited numbers of 12 to 24 year leases. The vessel is dubbed MV Narrative. Features 20 restaurants and bars, microbreweries, 3 swimming pools, a bowling alley, a movie theater, and a spa, plus a solar-powered hyperconic garden, a 10,000-book library, and an education program for children. Most of the Narrative 547 units have already been sold, according to the CEO, Alistair Putin. But though the $400,000 figures for the spot on the water may sound affordable compared to what you'd pay on other residential cruise ships, keep in mind that the living fee is in the range between $65,000 to $200,000 annually to cover all-inclusive living expenses. You did hear that, right? $65,000 to $200,000 annually. Plus, there's COVID, and then you're on a cruise ship, so that's something else to think about. And it's still a lot, But if you think about the money you'd save in not having to mow your lawn, I guess that's really something to give some consideration to.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
I can't tell you imagining living on a cruise ship. When do you know that you're going to dock? What if something happens? What if you have to make it to a doctor? All that kind of fun stuff. And then the question comes about immediately, which is going to be the following. I get frantic from time to time if I'm actually locked up for too long, so I have to jump in a car and drive. So do you have little lifeboats next to you where you can kind of float around for a little bit and then get back to the ship? I don't know. There's too many questions. There's just too many questions. Anyways, let's talk about being hung out to dry despite the so-called proven hangover cures. According to a new study, you guessed it, there is no scientific evidence that any of it work. A review by researchers in London found that a low-quality studies when examining nearly 24 different substances claiming to prevent alcohol-induced hangovers, including clove extract, red ginseng, Korean pear juice, probiotics, and prescription drugs. In a release, a lead author study of evidence that of these hangover remedies is of very low quality, and there is a need to provide more rigorous assessment. For now, the surest way to preventing hangover symptoms is to abstain from alcohol or drink in moderation, or drink some alcohol that has some cost associated to it, not the cheap shit, that's for sure. Nothing about the hair of the dog that bit you, huh? So something up there. And then, did you think about taking an aspirin? Maybe that's something to give some consideration to. And so nothing in the world can make a hangover better. That's exactly what I say every January 1st. Just think about it.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so we're still on the good side of the dark side, so I think it's time to bring in some Johnny Smalls, and hopefully he does not sound like he's in a tunnel today, to tell you about what's going on inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, January 14th, 2022. The tug-of-war between bulls and bears continued Thursday, with the bears winning out. The rising tide of fear that is driven by inflation and the FOMC's rapidly accelerating timeline for interest rate hikes has the market on edge. While rising interest rates are a sign of economic expansion, and it's very, very early in the rate hiking cycle, there are those who think the FOMC is behind the curve and will raise rates at a much faster pace than seen before. The latest look at the CME FedWatch tool shows the market is pricing in at least a 50% chance of 4 interest rate hikes by the end of the year. Based on this week's CPI and PPI data, we think the first hike will be at least 50 basis points, or worth half of the 4 hikes outlook. As for the S&P 500, it looks like the market could head lower, but earnings season begins today, and that could change the entire mood on Wall Street. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one, because that was what's going on, moving and grooving and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, let's talk about some other things. News of the weird. Let's talk about some news of the weird, because it is some time for some weird news. If not, what are we doing here? An Indian man who ran in his village election last month only received 1 vote, despite the fact that that he has had at least 24 family members eligible to cast a ballot. But Santosh, let's see if I can mess this up. Santosh ran for the decision-making position of Sarpanch in Charwalla. So there you go. And even though that he wasn't really expecting to win, he certainly didn't think that he'd receive just one vote, his own. He told the reporters that he has only 12 close family members who were eligible to vote, and several had assured him of their votes. Welcome to the wonderful world of politics. So there you go. Military recruits in Norway have been ordered to return their underwear, bras, and socks after the end of the service so they can be reused. The Norwegian Defense Logistic Organization said that because of a challenging stockpile situation, the move is necessary. Press spokesperson Hans McZit said that with proper checks and cleaning the reused garments is considered an adequate and sound practice. Until recently, the roughly 8,000 young men and women who with every year do the military service return to their outer clothing, but were allowed to leave back racks with their underwear, socks, and that were used. Military service is mandatory in Norway that lasts between 12 to 19 months. Usually they have trouble getting new recruits to keep their underpants on, so I guess that's something to think about when it's all said and done. So let's start talking about this, because we are talking about stockpiling. So I will tell you, because there is some truth to this, as always, if I have the opportunity and I can order groceries online, I will order groceries online to have them delivered to my house. Pretty simple process. So I have not been to a grocery store in quite some time. And a few days ago, I had the opportunity of, just going in and going to the grocery store. And talk about stockpiling. What the hell is going on out there inside of the world of the grocery stores? I went to this one particular grocery store, very popular chain, almost sounds like Walmart, and all of a sudden, boom, the neighborhood Walmart had almost, I would want to say, about 1/3 of their total inventory seemed like it was wiped out. I was walking around going, what the hell's going on? So it's not like I live in this weird area that you can't get to, but I was taking a look and going, how is this working in regards to being able to get food places? Because man, oh man, seems like a lot of stuff going on for sure as we are talking about it. So just some things to think about on how that's pretty much a little bit of everywhere. And I talked to a couple of other friends out of state, and they were telling me that they're running into similar things. So I'm not sure if that's exactly what is going on inside of your neck of the woods as well. Anyways, just wanted to talk about that real quick. So before we get too far into this, it is that close to that time. So maybe we should start talking about what is going on inside of the world of our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So if you were hanging out yesterday, you saw it everywhere, you know that we are the Rated R Safety Show, so there was no way under God's green earth that we were going to have a conversation today and not talk about this. So the Supreme Court blocks COVID vaccine requirement for businesses, or as some people are calling it, the Biden COVID vaccine requirements for businesses. So let's talk about this. The workplace requirements was challenged by a group of red states, and businesses would have affected nearly 80 million U.S. workers. So let's talk about what is going on. As you know, if you are inside of the industry that I get to hang out with and that we talk about, we normally do a lot of things related to the world of safety. So let's talk about this. Supreme Court on Thursday blocked Biden's administration rule requiring larger businesses to ensure that workers receive the COVID vaccine or wear a mask and get tested on a weekly basis. But the court said a separate mandate requiring vaccination for an estimated 20 million healthcare workers can be, listen to that, can be enforced. The workplace rule announced last fall by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration required companies with 100 or more employees to ensure that their workers either get vaccinated or wear a mask and show negative COVID results at least once a week. Now, if you remember when this came out, the world was up in arms that a lot of people were talking about this. But let's continue. The rule would also have covered nearly 80 million American workers, and OSHA estimated would have saved over 6,500 lives and prevent 250,000 hospitalizations within the next 6 months. The court's conservative majority said that the administration had gone too far in imposing such a sweeping requirement on the nation's businesses. Although Congress has indisputably given OSHA the power to regulate occupational dangers, it has not given that agency the power to regulate public health more broadly. The conservative justice wrote that in an unassigned opinion requiring the vaccination for 84 million Americans selected simply because they work for employees with more than 100 employees, employers and work for them with more than 100 employees certainly fails in the later category. But 3 liberal judges said that there is dissent that OSHA was well within the authority and expertise to impose the mandates, unlike the court, which they said is lacking any knowledge of how to safeguard workplaces and insulated and responsibility for any damages that it causes. So there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff here that we still need to talk about. In the face of still raging pandemic, this court tells the agency charged with protecting workers' safety that it may not do so in all workplaces needed. The liberal justice wrote, as disease and death continue to mount, the court tells the agency that it cannot respond to the most effective way possible. Without legal basis, the court's serves a decision that rightfully belong to others. It undercuts the capacity of the responsibility of federal officials acting well within the scope of their authority to protect American workers from grave danger. In a statement released on Thursday, President Joe Biden celebrated the verdict with healthcare workers' case as one that would save lives, but said that he was disappointed with the broader workplace mandate was struck down. Here's what he had to say. I am disappointed that the Supreme Court was chosen to block common sense life-saving requirements for employees at large businesses that were grounded squarely in both science and the law, he said, calling on individual businesses to institute their own vaccination requirements. We have to keep workers together if we want to save lives, keep people working, and put the pandemic behind us, he added. Biden's administration's workplace rule announced in November was immediately challenged by a group of businesses in Republican states that said that the government lacked the power to issue such sweeping mandates. Lower courts initially blocked the requirement, but later ruled that it allowed it to go into effect. In lifting the earlier stay, 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals of the 6th Court called the OSHA rule an important step for curtailing the transmission of deadly virus that has killed over 800,000 people in the United States and brought the healthcare systems to its knees and cost hundreds of thousands of workers their jobs. The National Federation of Independent Businesses called the appeals court ruling a gut punch to America's small businesses who are struggling to stay in business as they come out of this pandemic. Karen Hardin, executive director of the Groups of Small Businesses and Legal Center, called the Supreme Court ruling a welcome relief to businesses struggling to keep afloat during the pandemic. She expressed optimism that with the OSHA rule now halted, the lower courts will proceed with the regulation as illegal. A small business tried to recover after almost 2 years of significant business disruption. The last thing they need is a mandate that would cause more businesses challenge. This is what Hard had to say. Healthcare workers mandate. The Supreme Court on Thursday said that the separate regulation that requires vaccination for healthcare workers who at least treat Medicare and Medicaid patients could be enforced. 2 federal appeal courts had blocked enforcement in 24 states, but the requirement went into effect for the remaining 26. States opposed to the requirement said that federal law gave the government the authority to impose general health and safety rules for facilities like hospitals, but did not confer the power to require vaccines. The agency that administered the Medicare and Medicaid have never before required vaccinations, they said. Four conservative justices, Clarence Thomas. Do I need to go through these? So Clarence Thomas, Neil, Samuel, and Amy disagreed with the majority and said that it would have struck down the mandate for healthcare workers. The two justices who opposed the broad worker mandate but supported the healthcare worker requirements were Brett and Chief Justice John Roberts. So there you go. So that's it. That's the gig. That's the gig. Now, here's what we'll talk about, because it does go to the Supreme Court and it does kind of entail everything. It kind of goes in and we talk about everything. Here's what you have to think about. Is it something that is going to benefit people as a whole, or did this just become a more political movement? I'm just asking the question because you can look at it from any standpoint. I will tell you, I have seen several health and safety professionals yesterday celebrating about how exciting it was of what they were doing, people cheering what was going on with the Supreme Court. So you have to make the determination, is this going to be in the best interest of the country or not? And I don't know. I can't make up your mind. I can't tell you this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. I have told you from day one, and I will tell you this on day 2 and 3 and 24 and all this, you need to do what is in the best interest for you. If you think you need the vaccine, get it. If you think you don't need the vaccine, don't get it. And let people be what they want to do. I mean, if I want to get it, cool. If I don't want to get it, cool. And let's say life goes on, dear John, because that's the easiest way to look at it. So there you go. That's what's going on. So how will it affect your job? That's a good question. We're going to really find out next Monday on how things are going to go, because, you know, with all the excitement going on today, what are people going to say? But definitely Monday, when you get to sit down and have that little meeting with HR, what are we going to do next? I guess that's when the conversation will happen. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by...
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Come alive, come alive. You're in the Pepsi generation. Drink light, drink great, drink right up to date. Young taste, young drive, young pace. Come alive. Come alive, come alive. You're in the Pepsi generation.
This is the liveliest, most energetic time ever, with the most active people living it, and Pepsi-Cola is part of it. Pepsi is the light refreshment with a bold, clean taste and energy to liven your pace. Unofficially, it's the official drink for everyone with a thirst for living.
Come alive. You're in the Pepsi generation. You're in the Pepsi generation.
Here you go, 43 minutes past the top of the hour. And this one's called Strength by Pseudo. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. And we would like to thank Pseudo for allowing us to play this one. You know, always a good time around here as we're listening to La Musica that, you know, our favorite artists allow us to play and do all that kind of fun stuff. Anyway, so a lot of stuff going on, 44 minutes past the top. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm exclusively talking about the top 10 alternative countdown. So if you want to come out, hang out, take a listen, we can do that. We can go around, we can go about, take a listen to what the alternative countdown has for you if you so desire to do so. Anyways, let me tell you real quick about the most important thing that I will tell you throughout the whole gig this morning. And that is about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or you have lost a loved one, hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. The whole goal here is for you to know that you are not alone. Listen, if you want to find out information, here's more information. All you need to do is the following. Go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. We can't do what we do in this world without you, because you're the most important part. Seriously. Listen, who's going to do what you do? Nobody can replace you. And if you're struggling with stuff, or you know somebody who's struggling with stuff, what a great source of information to be able to share with them in regards of what you have going on, in regards of what is going on inside of the world where you might have the opportunity of being able to help them out. It's such a great time to be able to help others. Think about it for a second. Anyway, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of this world. Let's talk about Did You Know? If you are a fan of the card game Uno, you better buckle up. A new game, Uno All Wild, is available now, and because of 2022, every card is wild in the version of the game. Manufacturer Mattel says that the twist increases the pace and unpredictability of the game. Another change: 5 new cards: Wild Reverse, Wild Skip, and Skip 2. Wild Forces swaps the Wild Targeted Draw 2. The company says there's no matching of number or color like regular Uno, but also not as easy as it sounds. Special action cards really change the game up. So if you're an Uno player, I guess you can Uno it up over this weekend, especially now that we know that it's readily available to you. So let me ask a question real quick. I've been asking this to my friends and fam about what is going on. Are you working on Monday? You are aware that it is a celebration of Martin Luther King's Day in that particular regard. Now, I'll tell you, I get to hang out and talk to all kinds of safety professionals and HR specialists and HR managers and HR vice presidents. And I had one pretty interesting come about yesterday, and I will share this, where someone was told that the organization that they work for is not closed on Monday. And they said, I have a question for you. And the question was, here's what they asked. Do I need to take PTO, or can I take a day of grievance? Think about that for just a moment.
Listen to our host
of the Rated R Safety Show.
Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Life difficulties can drive us to God or away from Him. If we fight our pain and loneliness, we often end up fighting God. But if we can make peace with our pain, it can become an instrument that God uses to draw us to Himself. Maybe you're struggling with feelings of failure and disappointment right now. If you are, ask the Lord to help you see beyond your situation, to see others who are hurting and in need of a kind word or a helping hand. Help others, and you may be assured the Lord will help you. Proverbs 11, a generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. Lord Jesus, may our pain make us sensitive to the pain of others. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. There is some interesting new evidence as to why carbs make us so hungry. Before, we used to think that it was just the blood sugar aspect, but there is also an interesting effect on the brain. Blood sugar spikes and crashes play a part in how the brain receives hunger signals. But there is some evidence that after carb consumption, certain regions of the brain get eliminated. The study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, and that was a randomized blind crossover design trial, they found that having a higher glucose spike with simple carbs contributed to hunger and activated regions of the brain that are related to reward. Now here's why it's interesting. It is not the same mechanism that triggers a dopamine response. This response happens with any kind of food and is related to stimulation, but it's specifically carbs that impact the 3 regions in the brain that trigger a reward response and make us want more of what it gets triggered by. For additional resources, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Mark. Willie Nelson said, "Once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results." I love this. I've heard a similar saying, you usually hit what you're aiming for. Either way, if you spend more time thinking about things that make you sad or make you mad, take a moment to make a concerted effort to try really hard to replace those thoughts with something positive. Maybe even make a mental note of something that makes you happy. Remember a fond trip or a time that you felt great, and the next time you're mad or you're sad, think of that other thing instead, and then see how long it takes for everything to change. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Okay, so there you go, hanging out, doing our thing, doing our stuff together. Anyways, let's talk about it real quick. 51 minutes past the top of the hour. No winner for Tuesday night Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $325 million jackpot or a $224.1 million cash payout. No winner for Wednesday night's Powerball drawing. Saturday's drawing will be for $48 million jackpot or a $33.3 million cash payout. Let me tell you this real quick. Don't know if you heard about this, but Conor McGregor's Irish pub was hit with a Molotov cocktail this week. The Sun reports that the criminals threw 2 petrol bombs at the Black Forge Inn in Dublin and also left 2 pipe bombs near the entrance. McGregor was not in the bar at the time of the attack. It is unclear if he was the intended targets. No injuries were reported at the time. So there you go. Just some information for what was going on inside of there, as we are talking on this lovely Friday, 52 minutes past the top of the hour. Okay, so I know that there are some people that love football, so let's talk about it. NFL playoff wild card weekend prediction. Do we want the predictions or do we want the games? Let's talk about the games. Eagles at the Buccaneers, 49ers at the Cowboys, and Cardinals at the Rams is this weekend. And then the Raiders at the Bengals, Patriots at the Bills, and then Steelers at the Chiefs. So there you go. Just some stuff going on inside of the world. So it's wild card weekend. If you're into that kind of stuff and liking to watch the football, you got some ideas to do so. Anyways, let's talk about some other things, some birthdays that are going on out there. Grant Gustin turns 32 today. Emma Greenwell turns 33. Tom Rosalind turns 34. David Grohl from Foo Fighters turns 53. Jason Bateman, oh yes, in the Return of Ozarks later this month, turns 53. LL Cool J, 54. Carl Weathers turns 74. Yeah, you know, Apollo Creed. And then Holland Taylor turns 79, and Jack Jones turns 84 today. So there's some birthdays that are going on. If we're looking at some things that happened back on this date, let's go back into 2019, and we'll talk about this. According to the U.S. National Safety Council, Americans' chances of dying from accidental opioid overdose are higher than car accidents for the first time. The group calculates that the chance of dying from an opioid overdose increased to 1 in 96, surpassing the odds of dying in a car accident of 1 in 103. It is also greater than the odds of dying from a fall, a gun assault, and a pedestrian accident or drowning. So there you go. That was some conclusion of information that was downed back in 2019. Anyways, if you're looking for some reasons to celebrate today, I got some for you. It's National Dress Up Your Pet Day, National Hot Pastrami Day, and Ratification Day. If you're looking for some things to ratify, pastrami sandwich it up, or dress up your animal, you got some reasons to do that today. So there you go. Some interesting stuff, as always. If you need some scoops of BS in your life, I got some of those right away. Facebook estimates that 5% of its users are fake. Unfortunately, my parents' profile are painfully real. A study shows that cats can see things that are invisible to humans. In fact, they can even make out the loneliness emanating from you every time you whip out the camera and dress them in a sailor suit. So there you go. I just read that a number of Americans with blue eyes have declined by 30% in the past few decades. So if you ask me, it's just because God ran out of it after making Anderson Cooper. So there you go. David Grohl turns 53 today. In addition to flu, he's now fighting arthritis. According to a report, about 1 in 10 people have had sex at the office. The other 9 in 10, they work in IT. So there you go.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Always some level of craziness going on around here inside of this world. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on as we are hanging out, as things are coming to a conclusion right now on the Rated R Safety Show. And we will be coming back to you later on next week doing the things that we do. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. If you're not coming over to hang out with us on radiobig.fm, definitely hope you have a great weekend. If you're on the podcast format, you're like, why the hell are you telling me see you next week? We'll just see you then. So here you go. If you need a random joke for today, I got one of those for you. My housekeeping style can best be described as follows. There appears to have been a struggle. That's what's going on. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. Which TV family is most like your own and how? Think about that. Which TV family is most like your own and how? If you need a question for the water cooler today, try this one. Apparently, the top 3 places where couples kiss outside of their home are the car, the airport, and where else? Do you know where else? An elevator. That's where the other one is actually located. So there you go, some things to think about. By the way, I feel like I owe you this, so I'm going to give you some 30 seconds here, so take a listen. Seriously, take a listen.
News in London, I'm Benji Hire. Australia has revoked world #1 tennis player Novak
Here is the news
Djokovic
on the Rated R Safety Show.
Could face deportation. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is under renewed pressure following fresh allegations that 2 parties were held in Downing Street the weekend of Prince Philip's funeral, at a time when COVID restrictions banned indoor mixing between households. And China's denied interfering in UK politics after MI5 warned an agent of the country had infiltrated Parliament.
So there you go. Messed up news owed to you because of the cutout from earlier today. Anyway, so that's what it is. That's the hang up. That's the go through. If you are interested in taking a listen to what we have going on Safety FM, here's what you need to do if you're so inclined to do so. You can download the app from the Google Play Store or from the Apple App Store. You can take a listen to anything that we have going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because we are consistently streaming across the interwebs. Also, our Radio Big website is something you can go to at radiobig.fm, or you can go to the Live 365 app and download it and take a listen to us under Freeform Radio at radiobig.fm, where we get to hang out all the time and do the things that we do. Anyways, if I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. When you were a kid, you don't realize it, but you're watching your parents grow up too. Think about that for a moment. Think about the reality of how that actually is a portion of interplay. For sure. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on, because we can't do what we do without you, the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Seriously. What's the point of being here if you're not here? Anyways, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, 3-day weekend, that is. I know who you are. You know who I am.
Duh.
Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.